Wondering whether you should bring your loved one home for the holidays? Perhaps they're living in a care facility or they don't live with you and you're going to be hosting a family gathering and you're wanting to know, should you bring your loved one to attend that gathering as well? That's what I'm answering in today's video because this is what you all wanted based on my comments and DMs and messages on Instagram. So that's what I'm going to answer, and I'm going to give you some general guidelines to help you make the best decision based on your specific situation. Welcome to Careblazers TV. I'm Dr. Natalie Edmonds. I'm a board-certified geropsychologist, and right here on Careblazers TV, I post a new video every single Sunday. So be sure to hit the red subscribe button on your screen to stay informed with all my new videos, and download your free Careblazers Survival Guide. There's a link in the description below this video. It's my gift to you. First, let me start out by saying that you can obviously do whatever you want when it comes to inviting your loved one to any holiday festivity. But I want to talk about some real concerns with you, things for you to consider, like will your loved one be agreeable to going back to their care facility after they're in your home? What you should do if different family members have different opinions about whether or not the person should be attending the family gathering. And then finally, at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my biggest tip for deciding whether or not to bring your loved one home for the holidays. You're not going to want to miss that, so stay tuned till the end. Okay, so recently I was talking to a Careblazer inside of my care course. During one of my live Q&As, this care course member told me that she hosted a Thanksgiving gathering. And for that, she brought her loved one from a care facility to her home to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday with family members. And when it came back to take her mom back to the care facility, her mom didn't want to go. Her loved one then became really confused for several days after and wasn't participating in her physical therapy, didn't even remember the holiday gathering. And there was this a moment during the actual Thanksgiving holiday when the Careblazer is starting to freak out, like, oh my gosh, am I going to get my mom to go back to the facility? Now, her grandson did an amazing job, and I'm going to share exactly how he got her mom, his grandmom, to get into the car to go back to the care facility. I'm going to share that with all of you, but this really brings up some important points about taking some time ahead of time right now to figure out what you need to do, things you need to consider before you bring your loved one home for the holidays. Now, here are some warning signs or red flags that your loved one might not be agreeable to going back to their care facility after they're visiting your house or another person's house for a gathering. These red flags or warning signs include previous situations where they didn't want to go back home, constantly talking about not liking their facility or wanting to leave their facility, talking a lot about wanting to go home, and talking about just not wanting to be where they are. All of those should already be planting a seed that you're going to need to think a little bit extra and come up with a plan if you decide to bring your loved one home for the holidays. Doesn't mean you can't bring them home for the holidays to enjoy the gathering, but it does mean you should do a little bit of extra planning and prep. Now, these are some obvious signs, right, that you might have a challenge to get them back home. So let's talk about what you can do if you're suspecting or you want to be prepared just in case. Now, in this specific care course member's case, her grandson was amazing. Her grandson, instead of saying, we have to take you back to the facility, right, which her loved one was already resisting, the grandson said, Grandmom, I got a new car. Like, I want to show you my new car. Let's take a ride. That is how he got his grandma into the car to drive her to the care facility, right? You're not saying to the person, it's time to go back to the care facility if they especially don't want to go back to the care facility. So what can you do to make it enticing? Take a cue from this amazing grandson and think, like, what would be enticing to get your loved one to leave that holiday gathering, right? Saying it's time to go back is probably not very enticing, but saying, do you want to take a ride in my brand new car, or I want to show you a car, like that was enticing for that grandmother to be able to take part in her grandson's new car. that is a huge tip. I don't want that to go by you. So take some time, like what's enticing for your loved one might not be enticing for another person's loved one. So think about some different ideas you could have to get your loved one to get into the car and go back to the care facility. Now, my biggest tip for you to consider is that you have to be crystal clear on why you want your loved one to attend this holiday gathering. That seems like a simple question, but seriously consider it, because so many people would just answer that because it's family, because you're supposed to be with family during the holidays, because that's just what you do, right? Because I'd feel guilty if I didn't. We'd answer that really quickly as if it's an obvious question, but it's not, right? That type of thinking and those types of answers are because of what you are considering what the holidays are about. They're coming from your point of view, and they're not really considering your loved one's point of view. What is your loved one's point of view, right? In the case I mentioned above, it was clear that her mom really struggled with the event outside of the home, right? It was outside of her usual environment. And based on that back and forth live Q&A with her, her mom got significantly confused. It lasted for several days after she stopped benefiting from physical therapy. She didn't remember the gathering at all, right? So it was from her mom's point of view, her mom got really confused and took a little bit of a decline from participating in the event. Now, her mom may have very well said, yeah, of course I want to attend the event. Yeah, I'd love to attend this gathering, right? But I want you to think about it, the whole picture from before leaving for the gathering to dropping off and several days after the gathering. What will be your loved one's overall experience? Sometimes we don't really know how our loved ones are going to respond until you've tried it, and that's okay, right? We have to be honest, like, sometimes we're just not going to know. And so what are you willing to do? Some Careblazers will absolutely never miss an opportunity for their loved one to come celebrate the holiday season with the family, even if it means their loved one's going to be confused for days after. That's your right. That's that Careblazer's right. I just want you to take some time to really be honest with yourself and ask yourself how much of what you are doing is because of how you're viewing it and how much you're concerned about what other people might think of it, how much you're concerned with just the traditional stereotypical ways of thinking about the holiday, like you're supposed to be with family should be together at all times, and not thinking about this whole other arena of dementia, of how your loved one's going to experience it, of how they're going to recover from it, right? So just be really clear and honest with yourself. Why is it that you want your loved one to attend? And do you want your loved one to attend no matter what those other possibilities are? To talk about this point more, because it's really important, I remember once talking to a care course member who her mom always went to her favorite restaurant a certain day of the week. And when it came to the point where this Careblazer had to place her mom into a care facility, that Careblazer still showed up every day of that day of the week, every week, to take her mom to her favorite restaurant. But what was happening is that her mom was getting extremely confused every time the daughter would show up, take her to the restaurant, and take her back to the care facility. It wasn't a pleasant situation for her mom, but the Careblazer continued to do it because the Careblazer was thinking, my mom always did this. My mom always enjoyed it. I want to do it. This was a really great example of how the Careblazer was viewing it from her point of view only. In the Careblazer's point of view, she wanted to keep her mother's traditions alive. She wanted to continue doing what her mother had always enjoyed doing. But when we looked at it from her mother's point of view was that it was very stressful. It was distressing. It was confusing. It was anxiety provoking, right? So when we looked at it from her mom's point of view, we started to realize maybe the things that are bringing your mom joy now are different than the traditions that brought her joy in the past. So be honest with yourself. If you've had past experience with bringing your loved one home, did your loved one enjoy the experience? Was it worth any side effects or negative consequences that may have come as a result of going through that experience? Is the aftermath worth the pleasure that they got during some of the moments? The answer might be yes. The answer might be no. Again, there is no one right answer here. Be honest with yourself and don't let your interpretation only and other people's interpretation only guide your decision making. Try to incorporate as much as you can, as much as you know about your loved one's interpretation as well. What does your loved one's behavior say? What does your loved one's reactions tell you about going through these experiences? Now, if you do decide to bring them home for a holiday gathering, which I'm sure many of you will, have some helpful ideas for you to use to get them back into their care facility. I remember reading a book. Which book was it? I think it was like Creating Moments of Joy in Dementia. I can't remember exactly. I think that was the title. And there was a story in there about somebody trying to get their loved one out of they were at the care facility, and the Careblazer in the story was trying to get their loved one out of the car to go in the care facility, and she didn't want to go. The person with dementia did not want to go back in the care facility. And no matter what the Careblazer was saying, the person was staying in the car. All it took was a staff member walking by to say, hey, there's an activity going on. Your friends are waiting for you, for her to get up and go, right? Again, that's the idea of making it enticing. Going back to the facility doesn't sound enticing, but joining an activity that your friends are waiting for you for, that sounds enticing. Going in and having a meal because it's being served, that might be enticing. Again, only you know the best ideas of what's enticing for your loved one. Now, if you decide it is not the best case to bring your loved one for the holiday gathering, ask yourself how you can still incorporate them. Maybe they don't attend the full family event or the full big holiday gathering, but perhaps a private brunch on Christmas morning, or a private dinner on Christmas Eve, or some sort of celebration at their place on a different day, right? Or having different people visit at different times so they're not all overwhelmed at once, right? Just because they don't attend in all the activities or the main festivity doesn't mean that you can't incorporate them into something special for the holiday season. Just because they may not be able to do what the rest of the family is doing doesn't mean that they can't have some pleasant interactions. So think about what you think would be best for your loved one from your loved one's point of view. Careblazer, I hope this video helped you. If you know somebody struggling this holiday season or struggling with this particular question, you can share this video. Just click the share button, copy the link, and send it to somebody in an email or a text. My goal is that this really helps somebody out there this holiday season. I'm wishing all of you the best. I hope you have some pleasant events. I hope you have some peace. I'm sending love to you all. Let me know your plans for the holiday season in the comments below, and I'll get back to as many of them as I can. I'll be back next week with another video as always. Keep up the great work, Careblazer, and whatever holiday you celebrate, happy holiday.